right. Well, this is the first official stream on YouTube. We've done this for a while now on Twitch, but this is going to be the first podcast that we're streaming on YouTube. So we'll see how it goes. But that being said, we will start things off with some TV show related news. And the first of which, a couple things relating to Star Wars. The first of which that I wanted to say real quick, the Bad Batch season 2 premiered last week, the first 2 episodes. So that show is now, launched and up and running. And it'll be going for quite some time. I think it ends in like April or something, or like the end of
Oh wow.
March. Yeah, there's a lot of episodes. I think there's like 18 episodes or something like that.
So it's weekly episodes.
Yeah. Well, there's a 2 episode premiere, but after that, it's gonna be just one a week on Wednesdays. Um, but yeah, I mean, the first 2 episodes were pretty fun episodes. Nothing like crazy happened, obviously, because usually when you get TV shows that run for that many episodes, there's a little bit of filler. I don't want to mean a little bit, quite a bit of filler actually, but no, there is some cool things that happen. Like small spoiler, but they visit Count Dooku's palace to try and like get like valuables and stuff from there before the Empire takes it all. But yeah, that was cool to see that. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. Probably won't talk about it every week on the podcast. Just I might mention something if like something absolutely wild or crazy happens. But yeah, just wanted to throw that out there to start things off. And then if I can find it, oh, here we go. All right. So next up, it was announced, well, not announced, but it was reported earlier this week that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, the guys who've, basically created the Mandalorian show, they are working on another Star Wars show as we speak. It's obviously, very early on right now. I think they're just in the process of writing the script currently. But, a lot of people are reporting that they are indeed working on another show that will basically tie in with the Mandalorian and all the other shows that they got, like Ahsoka and whatnot. So it'll take place around that same time, but at least in terms of like the timeline. But as for what it'll be about exactly, and like the characters that might follow,
Be determined.
is anyone's guess. Yeah. So we'll have to find out more about that as more information becomes available. But the only thing that we do have is the code name for the show, which is called Ghost Track 17. Is the current code name, aka working title for the show.
I'm sure it'll
but
be good.
yeah, usually can't go wrong if they're working on a Star Wars project. So we will see. But speaking of said projects, obviously we got Mandalorian season 3 coming up in a couple months, and then shortly after that we'll be getting Ahsoka. Now, over the last couple podcasts we've talked about some of like the rumors and leaks, whatever, that have come out about Ahsoka, and now there's even more cool details that have either leaked or are rumored to happen in the show, which we'll talk about. And honestly, before we get into it, if even, and I've said this before, but like if even half of this stuff turns out to be true, it's going to be by far like the wildest Star Wars show that's come out yet. Obviously we've talked about, the world between worlds, the time travel stuff last podcast, where it's like gonna be kind of like a what if scenarios, right? Where we'll see like if she would have stayed with the Order and then she would have fought Anakin, whatever. And then we talked about the the stuff with, I can't remember what they're calling it, but like the place beyond, or like the uncharted regions or whatever, the unknown space, where they'll, be journeying there and trying to find Ezra and Grand Admiral Thrawn and all that. So those are like the two biggest things I think that are going to happen in the show based off what we heard. But there's some additional details that have come out, and apparently there's going to be so like the army that Thrawn is assembling in these unknown regions is basically a zombie stormtrooper army from what
Oh,
from what they're being described as. Apparently, let me see if they talk about anything specifically here about that. So do you guys remember in the sequel trilogy, and this is what it's talking about here, where I think it was it The Last Jedi or The Rise of Skywalker? I can't remember, but like after Kylo Ren's mask gets broken, and then he like repairs it, and you see like those red lines like on the mask.
mhm.
So apparently these stormtroopers are going to have a similar thing, because the and again, I think we talked about this before, like they're basically going to encounter the origins of like the Night Sisters, like the witches of Dathomir and whatever. And apparently they will have basically killed like any stormtrooper that like somehow like wandered, into wherever they are. And they somehow like use the magic to like just break apart their armor, and thus the people underneath, and then they're somehow going to like reassemble them and like reanimate them as zombies per se for like Thrawn's army. That's like the long story short version of like what we know, of, or at least how it's described is what's going to happen. So that's a pretty extreme concept. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm all for it, but there there are a lot of people. Well, I won't say a lot of people. There are some people that are kind of unsure about this idea, but I will say we have seen stuff like that before in Star Wars, especially in the Clone Wars show. Like, them like reanimating like the dead as like zombies and whatnot. But yeah, we'll have to see. But so far, it sounds it sounds pretty wild. Some of the stuff that they have planned for this show. So yeah, I guess we'll see. So before we move on to the next part, do you guys have anything to say or any thoughts about that?
I mean, if it works, I mean, it seems like a lot, and it seems kind of crazy. But I mean, if it works, it works.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see where it goes.
I feel
Yeah.
like that storyline. Sorry, not to cut you off, Ben. I'll let you talk here in a second. But I feel like that story, or like this particular storyline with like Thrawn and the Night Sisters and the undead army and all that stuff, I feel like that's going to be the main focus of the show. The stuff we talked about last time with like the world between worlds and like the what if, time travel, all that stuff. I feel like that might be like one episode, right? Kind of like a side mission type thing. But go ahead, Ben. What were you gonna say?
I literally was just gonna say the same thing as Evan. Just pretty much like, I mean, if it works, it makes sense.
Right. Yeah. We'll have to see, but I think especially with them like exploring like the unknown regions and whatever and all this stuff, I mean, really they can do anything because that's obviously a part of the universe that's never really been explored yet. So we'll see how they choose to go about it. But the second part of the latest leak for this show is honestly, yeah, well, probably objectively speaking, the more interesting part, at least to me, is they reveal. So obviously, Grand Admiral Thrawn is like the main like overall villain, right? But it's been revealed like his, I guess you could say, like his lieutenants or generals, whatever, who are going to be kind of basically like the main people that it sounds like Ahsoka is going to be going up against throughout most of the show. And the first of which is a character called Balon, which is going to be played by Ray Stevenson. That's pretty cool. And originally it was thought that he was going to be playing some type of like assassin turned like general of Thrawn's armies and whatnot, but now it's being said that he's actually going to be a former Jedi who survived Order 66, some like obviously fled, somehow found himself in these unknown regions and was like basically corrupted and turned to the dark side by like this Night Sister clan of witches. And then obviously I'm assuming like once Grand Admiral Thrawn gets teleported there and gets lost and whatnot, he probably finds, you know, this guy and the Night Sisters, and then they create the army for him. He recruits this guy to be like his I don't know, I guess his right hand or whatever. But and then this guy also, Balon, the Balon character, it sounds like he's going to have like an apprentice of sorts. And it sounds like there's a good chance she's going to be like a former Night Sister, and like that's how he like somehow like recruits her as his apprentice and whatnot. So it sounds like those two are going to be like, I guess, the de facto main villains per se of the show, at least like the main ones that are like going to be, you know, like fighting against and going up against Ahsoka. But and then I'm assuming like at the very end like she'll like cross paths with Thrawn or whatever. But yeah, that's honestly I was not expecting that to be honest. And again, you know, it's not like confirmed that this is happening yet, but there are quite a few places that are reporting this to be true. So we'll see what happens. But do you guys have any thoughts relating to that?
No, I mean, this is the most like the part that Star Wars that I don't know the most about is like this. So like
Right.
this
Yeah.
whole era is just stuff I'm not too certain about like what it is and who's who, but I mean, based on what you talk about it and whatnot, I mean, I'm sure it'll be awesome.
Yeah. And to be fair, no one knows about this stuff because it hasn't really been like explored yet in Star Wars, which is why I think it's cool that they're, you know, kind of like branching out and like starting to explore things that they haven't really covered yet. And obviously with Dave Filoni being the one that's like creating the show, that's like the absolute perfect person to do it. So yeah, you know, I think it'll be really cool. And honestly, the fact that we're getting this right after Mandalorian season 3, which I think is also going to be, you know, exceptional. It's you know, we might be pretty spoiled, I guess, as Star Wars fans, but this year at least. But we'll find
Hope
out.
so.
Right. But
I mean, I'm just kind of curious and kind of see how everything works and then in that direction that they're going,
yeah.
what it sets up and what kind of story it tells, you know.
Right. I mean, yeah, it's like I said, it's like it's new territory for everyone, so it'll be interesting. And honestly, too, like it'll kind of make it so that, well, I mean, obviously, you know, with anything, there's going to be people that hate on it, right? But
Right.
I feel like with this specifically, since they're going to be covering stuff that hasn't been really talked about or like really expounded upon before, um, obviously it gives them more room to just do whatever they want, right? Well, not like whatever they
Mhm.
want, but it gives them more room to like be more creative and like try different things without like the general fan base getting upset about it, right? Because like before, it's like if they did something that, you know, kind of went against canon or whatever, people would be like, and rightfully so, people would be like, okay, well, yeah, that doesn't make sense, like they shouldn't do this, like whatever. But like now it's, you know, you can't say that. It's like, oh, you know, that doesn't line up with this. Well, yeah, that's impossible because we've never seen anything like that yet. So I don't know. It'll be interesting one way or another for sure. But we will have to find out. And with that being said, we'll move on to the next thing. So I think last time we talked about, at least in terms of Star Wars movies, Damon Lindelof's movie potentially being the next one that shows up in theaters. Well, now it sounds like, that's more likely than not, if not all but confirmed to happen because, let's see, who was it? I thought it said who it was, but, oh yeah, right here. So, World of Real apparently is claiming that the Lindelof Star Wars film is going to actually be starting production this April, which is a lot earlier than anyone thought that any Star Wars project film wise would be starting production. And on top of this, other people are also reporting that this film has been moved up to sometime in 2025 for a release date. So not only will it be the next Star Wars film to come out, but at least as of now, it sounds like the plan is for it to come out sometime in 2025. Now, in addition to this, as we talked about before, they've also kind of like backed up previous reports that we've covered here that it's going to take place sometime not too far in the future after the sequel trilogy. However, they say that it's going to feature a new set of main characters. However, Lucasfilm is trying to get some of the main characters from the sequels to appear in like smaller roles in the movie. Whether that'll happen, whether they can, convince some of them to come back, we'll see. But it sounds like they're not going to be like the main focus of the movie. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But all right, yeah, because I think it's a perfect middle ground. So like they're not focusing on the characters, but they can still give those characters a better ending, right? Or like at least a more satisfying conclusion than what we saw in the Rise of Skywalker. But yeah, I don't know. Again, this is all really pretty much just rumors for now. Because not really a whole lot of people are reporting on that part specifically, nor the part where it says it's going to start filming in April. But at the very least, there are quite a few that are saying it'll be coming out in 2025. So we'll see what happens. Honestly, all I can hope for is that it's good. that's really all I can say. But all right, and with that being said, we can move on to some other TV show related stuff. The first of which is apparently the Duffer Brothers, the creators of Stranger Things, are making a Stranger Things anime spinoff called Stranger Things Tokyo. Cool. Yeah. And I think they said some information about it. Yeah, it'll be called Stranger Things Tokyo. The show will follow some game-loving twin brothers as they live on the outskirts of Tokyo in the 1980s. Somehow, the two end up in a scrape with the Upside Down and have to go on a grand adventure. The show will reportedly run for 6 hours. So yeah, there you go. That's all we know about the show so far, I think. Oh yeah, I guess they talked about it more down here. They've confirmed the spinoff show would be something that is 1,000% different than the main series. So yeah, I don't know what that means per se, but I guess it's just gonna be a spinoff, but like also different, way different, but still have the Upside Down. I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens, but
we will.
But yeah, that is a thing. That is a thing that's happening. So hopefully it's good. And with that being said, another, well, not anime, but animated project, Invincible Season 2 has reportedly been confirmed to come out sometime this year, or it will premiere sometime this year. And the official Twitter account for the Invincible show also tweeted recently, like basically reconfirming what they said last year, that they're also going to have another like official announcement about that coming sometime this month. Some people also assume that we'll be getting like a brief teaser trailer alongside that as well. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But those of you that haven't seen the first season, I would highly recommend, because it's pretty good. But yeah, season 2 will be coming out sometime this year. Actually, I did see some people are claiming that it's going to be coming out sometime in the summer, more specifically probably around July, but we'll see what happens. We will see.
Will. I'm a little ahead in the comics, and I'm excited for what's to come.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I forgot it was based off of comics. I
Yeah.
also know some stuff that happens like later in the comics, but not really a whole lot. But yeah,
That should be good.
I agree. And
Yeah, that's probably a show I need to watch, huh?
yes, you
Yep.
definitely do.
Add it to the list.
You definitely do. On top of the 100 other things we probably told you to watch, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as long as you see it before season 2 comes out, I guess. But so I think, is this the only DC related thing? At least for TV shows, I think it is. But yeah, James Gunn, he revealed on Twitter a couple days ago actually that he is in the process of writing a new unannounced, at least as of yet unannounced, show for DC, the new DCU. So yeah,
Titans.
as to what that'll be, I have no clue. But he also reconfirmed that they're going to be revealing a portion of their DCU movie slate sometime this month. And a lot of people are saying that it's probably going to be towards the end of the month that it ends up, or the announcement ends up taking place. But yeah, by the end of the month, we will have at least somewhat of an idea as to some of the projects that they are working on or will be working on, the first couple projects. So we'll have to wait and see for that, but thankfully won't be too much farther. We'll wait. But yeah. And then we got some Marvel related stuff, at least in terms of TV shows. So first of all, did we talk about in one of these last couple podcasts how there's been like a lot of rumors and reports of like there being production issues for the Echo show?
Yeah, we have.
So well, nothing to ease those concerns, but apparently the head writer for the show I mean you can take these comments, you know, however way you want to interpret them, but we'll just read the exact quote here and then talk about it. But so she said, it was really about finding a process in the moment that allowed me to get to some deadlines and be a little more flexible than I would have been if I had all the time in the world. I would have done it a little bit differently, talking about the process of writing the script for the show. So a lot of people are, taking that as, they basically like rushed it, like basically like forcing her to, meet deadlines that were, a little bit maybe quicker or sooner than she, would have preferred, or
Never great to
maybe
hear
on
this
like other
before it comes out.
right, or like on other shows. I mean, it's not like she said anything like, yeah, like it's basically meant that I had to like cut corners and it's not like what I wanted to do. But the last part where she said, if I had more time, I would have done things differently. I feel like that's the biggest part right there. And the thing is, like, they already delayed this show because it was supposed to originally come out this summer. But then, obviously, in the recent interview, which I think we also talked about that, she said that it was delayed until the end of this year. And now it's being said that it's probably going to be delayed again until early next year. So, yeah, on top of all those delays, the fact that, at least according to her, like, it still felt maybe a little bit rushed. I don't know. I don't know if that's, could be interpreted as a bad thing or if it's going to turn out okay, but who knows? What do you guys have any additional thoughts on that or no?
I mean, hopefully it's not mid, but it sounded like it might be a mid too.
Right.
Remember, Marvel, quality over quantity.
Sheesh.
Just gonna be that guy.
Yep. I don't know. And then, well, further, I'm not going to read this whole quote, but further down, she also talks about, because I guess she was a writer on Better Call Saul as well. And she was like talking about like the differences and like the process she took like writing for both of these shows. And it sounds like, they gave her a lot more time to, build like the characters and the story when she was working on Better Call Saul. So, whether that will make a difference, I guess we'll see. But yeah, so far, definitely not sounding too ideal, with the reported production issues. And then now they're saying that the story might have, or at least the script writing process might have been a little bit rushed. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But that's all we got for now to go off of. So, and with that being said, I kind of already briefly talked about one part of this, well, just then for that story, but the official Disney Plus Twitter account tweeted out a video highlighting all of like the upcoming shows that are going to be coming this year, and only 3 Marvel shows were on there. It was Loki season 2, Ironheart, and Secret Invasion, which is interesting because
What was the third one? I'm sorry.
Secret Invasion.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting because when they initially revealed like the upcoming slate, what was it? Was it Comic-Con or D23? I can't remember which one, but they had said that Echo and the Agatha show was also going to be coming out this year. But now, obviously they haven't confirmed that it's delayed, but the fact that it wasn't in their video for shows that are going to be coming out this year, there's a good chance that means that both of those shows are probably going to be delayed until next year. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But as of right now, it looks like we're probably only going to get 3 shows this year. And normally I would be like, okay, well, that's going to be quite a large gap in between shows coming out. But something else we're going to be, another like report that we're going to be talking about here soon, kind of explains that a little bit more. And before we get to that though, this guy, can we get some toast on Twitter? He's saying that what if season 2 has been pushed all the way back until sometime next year, which is, if true, kind of wild because it was literally supposed to come out within the first few months of this year. So for them to be like, yeah, we're pushing that all the way back to next year, I don't really know why they would do that unless they just have to make some like crazy changes to the show, or they're like really far behind than where they should be. But even then, I don't know why we wouldn't have gotten word before that if that was the case. But yeah, unfortunately, there's a decent chance that we won't see season 2 until next year now. What do you guys think?
I figured it would be the case when we started hearing about stuff getting delayed and changing and whatnot. Because the thing about What If is it's all animated, and if they change something, they have to reanimate it. And
True. Yeah, that's true. So yeah, we'll have to see. But as of now, it sounds like the X-Men 97 show animated revival is still, I guess, tentatively coming out like sometime this year, most likely in the fall from what I've been hearing. But since this show was originally supposed to come out before that, I don't know if they're also going to delay that. I mean, if it's going to be done in time, I don't see why they would. But yeah, we'll have to see if and how that affects, maybe some of their other animated releases this year. But with that being said, the thing that I was mentioning in the story before that is he's also said, on a happier note, which I don't even know if this could be a happier note because we'll get into that as well, but he says to expect the first episode of Secret Invasion to drop sometime in May. So two things. One, it got delayed slightly because the show was originally supposed to come out in March. Well, okay, I guess they never technically confirmed that it was coming out in March, but like basically all the trades said that it was going to be coming out sometime in March. So the fact that it's now kind of been pushed back to May. Now, I don't know if that's because of, the potential delays to Echo and Agatha. But what I was saying earlier is still, like, I don't know how they're going to like manage like such a large gap between shows. They probably just pushed everything back, honestly, because if this show is coming out in May now, Loki season 2, because I think that was originally supposed to come out like in June-ish, that's probably not coming out till like July or August now, right? And then what's the other one? Oh, Armor Wars, or not Armor Wars, Ironheart is probably gonna come out, I don't know, like October, maybe. Like September, October. And then that'll go close to the end of the year, and then I'm sure they'll have like either Echo or Agatha like very soon, like the start of next year. But yeah, I don't know. Again, that's all just speculation on my part, at least in terms of when they're gonna release stuff. But you guys have any thoughts on that before we move on?
I mean, the show looks good, and I'm hoping it's gonna go back to like the Winter Soldier form, but we'll see. I mean, it's not written by the same people, so or directed by the same people, so
True.
well, it should be good.
I mean, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but again, hopefully these delays are on the side of quality versus quantity.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know so much about Secret Invasion, if they've done any like changes or like last minute reshoots or anything like that. But yeah, I don't know if there's going to be much change to that show particularly, even despite the delay. But the other shows, yeah, there's probably a good chance that they might change up some stuff. But who knows? we'll have to wait and see. I also saw kind of relating to that, apparently they're doing like last minute reshoots for Quantumania right now as well. What that means, I have no clue. Like, are they like adding stuff to like tie into an upcoming or future film or project? Are they like changing up the ending? I have no clue really what they're what the goal of the reshoots is. But and I mean, I get it's not really uncommon per se, because I mean they did the same thing with Multiverse of Madness. Like, they literally did, obviously not like crazy reshoots, but they did have to reshoot some very small things like a couple of weeks before the movie came out. So we'll see. We will see, but yeah, that is the end of what we have for TV show related stuff. Um, Before we move on to the movie side of things, I do want to quickly point out two things that I don't have on here, but I did see earlier today. Uh, well, the first one isn't something I saw; it's just a reminder. The Last of Us show on HBO premieres this Friday, so pretty excited for that. Hopefully,
Yeah, I'm hoping that doesn't suck.
hopefully it's good. And I mean, well, we won't get into all of the stuff that people are complaining about before the show even comes out, but yeah, there's there's some people basically writing off the show already before it's even come out. So honestly, I really hope it's good. One, obviously for my own personal enjoyment, and two, just for those people that are already saying it's going to be trash before it's even come out. But I mean, I guess it's impossible to know. But some of the things that people are complaining about, I don't think is going to be an issue. But we'll see. We will see what happens. And the second thing that I wanted to say is apparently Colin Farrell confirmed recently that he's going to be starting to film the Penguin spin-off show next month sometime, and they're going to go for about 5 to 6 months, he said. So hopefully that means we will be able to get the premiere of the show. I mean, the end of this year seems maybe a tad bit too soon, but probably early next year I'd say we'll get that show. But yeah, that's all I got for the TV show side of things. So now moving on to some movie related stuff. Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery, came out a couple weeks ago on Netflix. Evan and I watched it not too long ago. Have you seen it, Ben?
No, not yet. I'm still wanting to see the first one.
Sheesh, you haven't seen the first one? Yeah, you
No, I've been
definitely
looking
gotta watch
high
it.
and low to watch it.
Well, it's on Netflix.
The first one is? Because I thought it wasn't anymore.
Did they take it off?
I think so. I mean, I tried looking for it last week.
Hmm. There's a chance they might have. I can't see how they would have though, because I'm pretty sure Netflix has the exclusive rights
Mm-hmm.
for the movies. It's gotta still be on there, but either way, yeah, yeah, it was. I'm not gonna like spend too much time on it. I just wanted to say that the movie came out and it was really good, in my opinion. I thought it was really good. Um, Obviously, I think we talked about this before. There's some things that people are complaining about it, at least in terms of like the direction they decided to go. But I thought it was fine. I thought it was a good movie. So if you haven't watched it, I would definitely recommend. And no, this is not a hashtag ad for the movie, but it was good. And with that being said, apparently they have confirmed that a Gladiator 2 is happening. Something I honestly never thought would happen because I feel like there's not really a reason for one. But Ridley Scott is coming back as the director for the movie, and apparently they casted Paul Mescal as the lead character, and I'm not really too familiar with him. I haven't really seen anything he's been in. Apparently he's known for starring in something called Normal People and After Sun. So if you've seen either of those,
Made those up.
right, if you've seen either of those two things, you probably know who this is, but we have not. But yeah, he's apparently going to be the main character, and other than that, I don't think really anything else is really known about. Oh, I guess it says the Hollywood Reporter has confirmed that the sequel will follow Lucius, the son of Lucilla and the nephew of Commodus, who looked up to Maximus and helped to honor him by carrying his body after his death. Oh, okay. So I guess it's gonna follow that kid from the first movie who's grown up now as to what's actually going to happen. Like, what's the, you know, I guess the general synopsis of the film is anyone's guess so far, but yeah, I mean, the first one was great, obviously, but again, I don't really know if a sequel is necessarily needed per se, but I mean, they got Ridley Scott who did the first one, so I'm sure at the very least it'll be watchable and decent. But
I feel like they're making this so they can have a Gladiator too.
what, like just for the fact or the sake of
Yeah, like it's been
yeah.
years.
Yeah, that's what I was like. I thought it was like clickbait at first when I saw this. I was like, no shot, they're doing a Gladiator 2, like you said, 20 years after the first one came out. But I guess they are. So there's that's that. All right, so please don't disappoint me, Ben. You have seen the first one, right? You have seen Gladiator before.
Gladiator?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I just had to double check.
It's been a while, but I know I saw it.
I'll take it. That's fair. That's fair enough. All right. And with that being said, so I wasn't planning on watching this full trailer on stream. We can if you guys want to. I just wanted to, I guess, bring it up and make sure that you guys and anyone that watches was aware of it. There's a trailer for an upcoming movie called Renfield. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. It's basically like a Dracula movie, but like, I guess with a unique twist. Like, it's more comedic, I guess. But it's got Nicholas Hoult as like the main character, I guess, who's like a aide or like servant of Dracula or whatever, and Nicolas Cage plays Dracula in the movie.
Oh,
But yeah, it's I mean, like, the trailer is like I mean, you can tell it's not gonna be anything like, you know, like crazy, like Oscar award worthy, but like it definitely looks like a fun, interesting movie to check out. Um but yeah, it's gonna be directed by Chris McKay as well. I don't know if I said that previously, but yep, that's if you haven't checked out the trailer, I would definitely
yeah, I'm gonna have
at
to
least
peep it.
recommend check it out and see for
I've
yourself. But
I've seen some like clips and stuff from that like trailer that came out. It looks actually kind of interesting.
yeah, I mean, you can tell it's just gonna kind of be like, you know, like a fun little like movie where you just kind of like not really think about it and just like go with it. But yeah, honestly, like I'll probably end up seeing it when it comes out. But yeah, it's honestly, well, that combined with the fact that there's a lot of people talking about it online, mainly because, you know, as expected, Nicolas Cage is playing Dracula, so obviously a bunch of people are gonna be talking about that. But there you go. And next up, I think not too long ago, I think we talked about some of the options that Warner Bros. Was considering with the Harry Potter franchise. Well,
Yeah.
now it's being reported that they are basically just going to be doing a full-on reboot of films, based off the novels, obviously.
Really?
And yep, they're gonna have obviously brand new cast. And let me scroll down and see if they have
I still
any
think it
information
would
on it.
do better as a series, but I mean, I'm all
Yeah.
for more movies.
I agree. Yeah, it just says Screen Geek was the one that broke the news. They said there are indeed plans for the Harry Potter franchise to be rebooted for the big screen. Recasting the core characters and putting a fresh spin on the story that begins, well, yeah, you all know. Whatever this project may or may not be is reportedly in the very early stages of development, so who knows what it'll end up looking like. And honestly, it'll probably be at least, at bare minimum, a couple of years away from the first movie coming out, if this does, you know, move forward. But I don't know necessarily what they mean by them wanting to put a fresh spin on the story. I guess. I mean, to be fair, I don't know like how different the movies that we have right now are from the books, obviously. Um, I mean, I guess if they are different in some aspects, maybe that's what they mean by putting a fresh spin on the story, but I truly don't know, at least about that aspect of it. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But it sounds like as of right now, at least, obviously things can change. But as of right now, it sounds like they want to go the route of just rebooting it and making a new film series about the Harry Potter, world and whatnot. So I don't know. You guys have any additional thoughts or what before we move on?
Well, I could talk about this forever, but
Uh-huh.
I'm just happy they're not deciding to do the fucking cursed child. So that's all I can say.
True.
'Cause you heard me last time. I don't need to reiterate. If you want, you can go back and look at it. I am happy that they are not doing that.
That's fair. That's fair. So, like, wait, have you read the books or no?
I have not read the books.
Well, I was mainly
There's no
talking to
way
Evan,
you were
but-
talking to me, dude.
Okay, I couldn't remember. Well, I knew you're a Harry Potter fan, but I didn't know if you
Bro,
like,
I've
all
read the
books or
books
whatever.
so many times. Like, I
That's
can't
fair.
count how many times
All
I've
right,
read.
all right, that's fair. That's fair. So, like, do you have an idea then of how they could put a fresh spin on the story? Then, at least in terms of like the films that are already out there right now.
I mean, I don't know if they need like a fresh spin, but there's just so much stuff that they couldn't do. That's why I think it'd do better as a series
Right.
with 7
right.
seasons. But yeah, no, there's just so much stuff that they weren't able to get into, and like things happen differently, and yeah, no, there's definitely a lot of room to add in, and
Wow,
but
different.
it's gonna be hard to do because the whole world's they think of Harry Potter and they think of Daniel Radcliffe.
Right. That's what I was thinking too. Like, especially when they said like getting a new cast, which I mean, obviously they have to. Like, you can't. All those, they're all adults now. So you can't get like the same actors. But and plus, that's not even like, even if they could figure out a way around that, like, I'm sure like they couldn't get all of them to come back to begin with for that. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll we'll see. As more information comes out about what they're trying to do, I guess we'll talk more about it then. But yeah, as of right now, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. Like, the concept of it like sounds interesting. Like, I feel like there's definitely some things that they could do to like switch things up. Obviously not like drastically switch things up, but like, kind of change some things, or like maybe add some stuff that was in the books that they weren't able to do with the movies that we did get. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. I think it's gonna be very
We will.
difficult to replicate the success of movies that we already got. But
Well, yeah, it's one of the biggest franchises ever.
right, so
It's like, how do we replicate the MCU? I don't know.
right,
Let DC know when you figure it out.
right, dude. Yeah, it's point, good point. But yeah, that's about it for that. I think we talked in one of the last couple podcasts we did about Aaron Taylor Johnson potentially being one of like the top options to take over as the new James Bond whenever they
Mhm.
decide to do that again.
I think so.
So yeah, now it's sounding like that is becoming more and more of a possibility, because apparently recently he officially met with the producers. I can't remember whatever studio that's in charge of the James Bond property and whatnot. But yes, he's had an official meeting, and it's still obviously not set in stone, because I'm hearing rumors of a couple other actors as well who are considered to be like in the running still. But yeah, I can't remember if I asked you guys your opinions on that before, but would you guys care if he was the next James Bond or no?
Who?
Aaron Taylor
Aaron Taylor?
Johnson. Yeah.
I mean, I want Idris Elba, but I'm all for it.
So I do too. But
Yeah,
then
we talked about this, and
Mhm.
it's
but
because people think he's too old. But
yeah, yeah. But I guess it really just depends what like what direction the studio wants to go, right? Like obviously if they want to go with a younger James Bond, which I think they probably do because the current rumor is that they want whoever they cast, right, to play the character for at least 10 years. So I'm assuming that that means they're probably going to want to get an actor that's on the younger side, um but yeah, I mean it really just depends. Like if they didn't care about the age aspect, I think Idris Elba probably would be one of, if not the choice. But yeah, like I said, I really don't know for sure what direction they want to go with the character, but we'll see. I mean, obviously Aaron Taylor Johnson is a good actor, so
Yeah.
I'm sure he'd be fine in the role if it comes down to it. But yeah, with that being said, there's so this next one is pretty interesting. Before we get into like the actual story, because it is revolving around the Avatar franchise, not the Last Airbender, but the movie that just came out. First of all, James Cameron said that the movie is on track to make a profit. I think as of right now, it's like at 1.7 billion dollars. And obviously, I think it needs to reach the 2 billion mark in order for it to make a profit. But apparently, it's on track to do that. And with that being said, because of that, he's saying that now, his like 3, 4, and 5, or however many movies he's doing are basically guaranteed to happen now. So yeah, I mean, I guess it's it's basically confirmed now that we're gonna be getting the other movies that he's got planned. And now we get into the funny part. So apparently he was talking a little bit about what we're gonna see in Avatar 3. And this isn't really a spoiler, by the way, for the second one if you haven't seen it yet. But he just says that. So he says different cultures. Or when he was asked what fans can expect for the third one, he said different cultures from those I've already shown. The fire, indicating like there's gonna be like a fire type of like Navi, I guess. That are gonna be called the Ash People. And he says, I want to show Navi in a different light because so far I've only shown their good sides. In the early films, there are negative human examples and very positive Navi examples. In Avatar 3, we want to do the opposite. Um, so, like, if you haven't already caught the part that's funny, I'll explain it. But I mean, at face value, yeah, that's what's gonna happen, and at least start to happen in the third one. That
Are we not going to say that this is like Blue Avatar's Fire Nation versus the regular Avatar's Fire Nation?
you're I don't know if I don't know if that's what you mean, but yeah, you're getting along. You're getting to the point or that I was gonna make.
Mhm.
A lot of people are saying that this is basically a ripoff of the Avatar: The Last Airbender because, like, obviously we've gotten like water or like Earth Navi, whatever you want to call them, so far, and he's like, yeah, now we're gonna be having Fire Navi that's actually gonna be evil and they're gonna be trying to take over the universe, and then we're gonna like, what's next? Like in Avatar 4, they're gonna show like the Earth Navi or whatever, but yeah, a lot of people are making fun of this decision because it sounds like basically an exact rip-off of the Last Airbender story. But yeah, I don't know what do you guys think.
I mean,
I mean, anytime I think of Avatar, I'm like, he wants to make 5 of these things
Right.
and then some.
I just think it's
I,
funny how like not only does it literally share the name Avatar with The Last Airbender, but then they're also doing this. That's like basically, you know,
If I'm not
like the
mistaken,
overall core concept
aren't there
of the show.
5
But
elements or 5 chapters to Avatar?
there's 3 seasons and 4 elements.
yeah, Ben, come on, dude, get your
Mm.
facts straight. I'm
Yeah.
trolling. But
I think there's 4 seasons of Korra though.
I
I
can't
don't remember.
remember Korra. Yeah, I watched it. It was good, but I don't know the specifics of it like I do the Last Airbender show. But yeah, and speaking of which, actually coming up here soon, there is some like Avatar related stuff, like the Last Airbender. I mean, not the movies.
Yep.
So that we're gonna be talking about. But yeah, in terms of that, the James Cameron Avatar, this is it. This is all. That's all I had. But I just thought it was funny that like his like concept for the next couple movies sound pretty similar to the Last Airbender show. But anyways, next up, I don't know if you guys saw this. I'm actually gonna link you guys the video in the Discord. So Paramount Pictures, they
Oh yeah, I watched this.
released like this behind the scenes
Yep.
footage of one of the
Pretty
stunts
wild.
that Tom Cruise had to do for
Oh wait, yeah.
the upcoming Mission Impossible movie, and they're calling it the biggest stunt in cinema history. I mean, like logistically speaking, I don't know if that's actually true or not, but I mean, just looking at it here, I mean, I have to say it's up there. Like, there's,
It was
if
pretty sweet.
yeah, like if this isn't the biggest stunt that's been done for a movie, it's got to be at least one of the biggest stunts that's been done. Yeah, as you can see, he just rides like the motorcycle off this giant ramp over the ravine and just parachutes down later. But yeah, this is pretty crazy. I mean, say what you will about Tom Cruise, but like the fact that he is like constantly doing, you know, his own stunts like this is pretty crazy. I gotta give it to him. Because didn't he like actually fly like a jet for Top Gun Maverick, if I remember
Something like
correctly?
that.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I don't know, some of the stuff this guy does for the sake of making it look realistic is pretty wild. But
Does it for the content, huh?
yeah, that's quite literally the definition of doing it for the content. But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys that if you hadn't already seen it. I thought that was pretty wild. But yeah, we got that. And next up, apparently they did a recent test screening for the Blue Beetle film that's coming out this summer, and apparently it was pretty positive for the first screening. And the general consensus, at least from the Animated Times here, who saw the screening, obviously they said there have been some early test screenings and reactions say this movie is very entertaining and features some really great hand-to-hand combat fight sequences, I guess. But that's like the general consensus coming out from these recent test screenings. So pretty good news so far for the movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll have to see once more information. Or I think, if I'm not mistaken, I heard that the first trailer could actually be coming out for the Super Bowl, because as we'll be talking about actually the next story here, DC is making like their first like return to like showing their movies at the Super Bowl in like 10 years or something like that. I think like The Dark Knight or The Dark Knight Rises was like the last DC movie that they showed like a trailer for during the Super Bowl. So apparently they're making a return, and this movie may or may not be one of the ones that has their first trailer shown during it. So we'll have to wait and see. But With that being said, the Flash like that is confirmed to have a trailer shown during the Super Bowl. That's like, you know, like the main reason why I guess DC is returning to like Super Bowl advertising, because I guess they're really confident that the Flash is gonna do like extremely well. And yeah, that's apparently like the movie that they're just, I guess, putting all their money on in terms of like it doing well this year. Um, but alongside that, apparently there's been some rumblings that some like executives at Warner Bros. Would not be opposed to bringing Ezra Miller back as the Flash after the movie this summer. Mainly I guess because he's or like I guess they've like stayed out of trouble like recently, which I guess the studio is happy with, and I guess they've also shown quite a bit of progress with like their like mental health rehabilitation or whatever that they're going through. So apparently
Good for him.
with all of that put together, I guess they're now open to the possibility of, you know, Ezra coming back as the Flash after the movie, because obviously he's going to be in the movie that's coming out this summer. But at the end of the day, though, it's really going to come down to James Gunn and Peter Safran, what they decide to do, because they've already made it clear that the studio is not really going to interfere with their decisions and what they want to do with the DCU. So really whatever they decide, whether they want to bring Ezra back, whether they want to, you know, bring in a different actor, it's ultimately going to be decided by them. So we'll have to see. But from what I've been hearing, more likely than not, Ezra's not coming back as the Flash after the movie. And it's not to do with anything about, you know, like their behavior or whatever. It's just you know, James Gunn and Peter Safran, they're just going with a clean slate, like, of everyone. Like they're just recasting every single character. So yeah, that's I guess what they want to do. So more likely than not, that's probably what's gonna happen. But at least it sounds like there's a small chance that, you know, Ezra could potentially be back as a Flash, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. Honestly, probably when they reveal like their portion of the DCU slate or whatever towards the end of the month, we'll probably find out more then, or we'll probably find out officially then what's gonna happen. But as of now, yep, we will we'll have to wait and see. And speaking trailers, apparently a new extended trailer for Quantumania is expected to drop tomorrow at some point during the college football championship game. And then obviously it'll probably be online at some point after that shortly.
Dude, I forgot that's tomorrow.
Honestly, I did too until I saw this. But yeah, I don't think I don't think it's gonna be like a brand new trailer. I think it'll probably be like mostly clips of like the previous trailers we've seen, with like a couple.
You think there'll be more scenes with him and Kang, or just Kang in general?
Could be. The main thing I'm hearing is that we're probably gonna get the first official look at MODOK in the new extended trailer. But again, that's all speculation for right now. That's just what people are saying, that like if we see anything new, like that's probably gonna be like the biggest thing would be seeing like the first official look of MODOK, or at least what he's gonna look like in the movie. But yeah, long story short, new trailer coming out. I probably shouldn't say new trailer because I don't know if it's going to be, like I said, a brand new trailer, but new extended trailer. We'll call it that. But yeah, we got that to look forward to, and apparently the filming schedule for Armor Wars, which, for those of you that don't know, was originally supposed to be a TV show, but then they decided to turn it into a movie not too long ago. And apparently that is going to start filming in April. And gonna be
Dang.
start filming in April of this year, which is wild because they haven't even like confirmed like when the movie is coming out. And it's already gonna be starting to film in April, and apparently it has like a very short film like time frame as well because it's gonna end in like July or like early August. So they're only gonna be filming for a couple months. But yeah, that's honestly that probably means that it's gonna be, if it's filming that this early, it's probably gonna be in one of the unannounced like film slots that they have in either late 2024 or early 2025. I'd have to imagine. But I think there's what there's two like scheduled slots that like technically aren't like officially announced yet, right? That like it's
I think,
between the Avengers
yeah, I
movies,
think
I
so.
believe. But so yeah, I mean if this is true, it sounds like this is probably gonna be one of those movies that comes out during that time frame. So yeah. We'll have to wait and see if we get any like official announcements about that anytime soon. But with that being said, the Sony chairman, Tom Rothman, apparently he did an interview pretty recently and he was asked about if Spider-Man 4 was still happening with Tom Holland, and he said yes. They're still planning on it, but they just don't know precisely when it's going to come out. Yeah. And alongside that, there's also been a lot of rumors slash reports, quote unquote reports by like various scoopers and whatnot, who are saying that, because originally we heard that they're aiming for like a summer July release next year for this movie, but now it sounds like it's probably going to be pushed back until like late next year or possibly even like early the following year, 2025. So but yeah, it's I mean, I never expected that this movie was was gonna be canceled
Yeah,
or anything like
no,
that.
I would
But
have been surprised if this even started filming at, at the first like 75% of this year. First three
right,
Yo,
quarters of this
fun
year, I'd be
fact:
surprised if they started filming.
did you guys know that Tom Holland and Zendaya are expecting a child?
I did
Are
not
they?
know that
I saw
actually.
that they were. I think they were engaged or something. No.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. That's the last I heard. I didn't know that they were expecting a child, but
Mm-hmm.
huh. Well, there you go. Guess
Allegedly.
allegedly, I guess that's fair.
I just had to throw
If they
that
haven't
in
said
there.
anything, I think officially, I probably wouldn't know. But all right, well, with that being said, so the uh the scooper My Time to Shine Hello on Twitter, which we've covered quite a bit of the stuff that they've claimed or reported in the past. Yeah, over the last 3 weeks they've dropped a lot of stuff. They've dropped a lot of stuff, and some of which is, I don't remember if you or I don't know if you guys remember last podcast that we talked about how they said that when they hit like 100,000 followers or whatever on Twitter, they're going to be dropping like a huge like leak or whatever. Um, this is included in what we're going to be going over. Um, so yeah, I just have like a bunch of their tweets over the last couple weeks that we'll be going over, and the first of which is the Avatar stuff that I alluded to previously. Apparently they've heard some stuff about the next sequel show, I guess. Obviously we know that they're making like a movie or whatever. But I guess they're also going to be working on a sequel show that's going to take place after the events of Korra. And apparently, from what they've heard, according to them, it's going to have more of a cyberpunk setting, and it'll
Ooh, that'd be
have
dope.
multiple energy benders, which sounds pretty interesting, and flying airbenders. So expect more Dragon Ball Z level fighting.
Hmm,
That's
interesting.
that's how they broke down what they've heard about that the next show, I guess. But I mean, yeah, I mean, if this is true, I mean, the concept definitely sounds pretty dope for this show if it turns out to be anything like that. So again, we'll have to wait and see because I think, well, they said the movie is what, 2025? Is that when the movie comes out?
I think so, something like
Or
that.
2024? I don't know, somewhere like that. So I think this show probably would come out until after that, unless they're also going to be, you know, working on it at the exact same time, which I guess they could be. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. About that. And then the next thing, yeah, which we'll see. But they've said they had zero expectation, but surprisingly, they've heard great things about the Netflix live action adaptation of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Which, I mean, for those of you that don't know, that's the show that like the creators of the original animated show ended up leaving due to creative differences and whatnot. So yeah, I still have obviously a little bit of some concerns about the show, but I mean, yeah, I guess from what they've heard so far, it's actually surprisingly not that bad. But like all things, we'll see. We'll see once it comes out. But now, the rest of the stuff is pretty much all Marvel related stuff, and some of it is, if it turns out to be true, is going to be pretty wild. But apparently there was a leak for the design of Mephisto, because obviously we know he's going to be in the Ironheart show coming out later this year, and they basically said that concept art was fake, but they're saying that it is true that the early stages Mephisto has a look resembling Lobo from DC, obviously. They said they're not really sure what the final version is going to look like. Maybe like this, or maybe closer to the comic. So this is like the image right here that like is everyone is talking about and like floating around as to like somewhat like what the character looks like, at least in like early concept art. Obviously, things can vastly change from like the early stages to what we're actually going to end up seeing in the show, but it sounds like at least in the early stages they're kind of like going for a look that like kind of resembles Lobo from like DC. So I don't know, what do you guys think? Would you guys be all for a look like this or no?
Looks like fucking Trevor. GTA.
It does actually.
I mean, it depends on how they play it. Like if they're playing them like super serious, I feel like
True,
it shouldn't go this route. But if they're playing off like the expectations that everybody had of Mephisto, but I feel like it'd be too meta, and I feel like I don't know. I honestly have no clue like what Mephisto like could look like in the comics, but I feel like he could look so fucking cool. He doesn't have to look like some guy in a unitard. Like he could have like just special effects surrounding him. Like his cloak is like I don't know, like something like cool instead of like just some guy dressed up in a red suit.
Yeah, like some of these images right here, like what he looks like in the comics.
Yeah. Looks weird.
But
if that was Lobo, it'd make sense. But I feel like Mephisto is like I don't know.
You're saying like this stuff
like,
looks
those
weird,
look
or
cool.
okay.
No,
I
that
what
stuff
saying.
looks cool.
Right. Yeah.
Like where he was like sitting in the chair and shit.
Yeah.
But like the one that looked like Lobo that they were showing, that you were showing up on that tweet.
Yeah, this one right here. Yeah. Now, again, this is just like, this isn't even like the official concept art of the early stages. They're just saying like this is like this could kind of be like what the early stages look like. They're all they did was confirm that at the early stages they did plan on like having an appearance similar to that of Lobo. I mean, like I said, in the final product it could end up looking vastly different, like nothing close to what like this image looks like. But I was just saying, like, if it does, if the final design does end up looking somewhat like this, what your guys' thoughts were. But yeah,
I mean, if it looks cool on screen, it looks cool on screen.
right, dude.
That's all I can
Right.
say.
So I don't know, and like I know too that like they can't have like a design that looks too like that looks too demonic or like I guess like devil like, because is it like China or something like that like doesn't go for that, and like they would easily
I
like
mean, there's
not
been
have the show or
a
whatever,
few
but
movies that we just haven't shown in China.
for sure.
Give
Yeah.
us demons.
I'm just saying like that could have potentially been, in
Yeah,
the back
for
of their
sure.
minds, like a consideration for why they might not go like a comic accurate route for like the look, but yeah, at the end of the day, who knows? Like it could look like this, it could look vastly different. I mean, obviously we won't know until we see official, which honestly we probably won't see like an official look at him until the show comes out, because I can't imagine that they're gonna show him in like a trailer or something like that. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But in addition to this, they've also, let me go back here. Yeah, they've said that Sacha Baron Cohen has secretly filmed some scenes for the Agatha show recently in LA, obviously as Mephisto. So he's not only going to be in Ironheart, but apparently, according to them, he's going to have a small role in the Agatha show as well, which again begs the it begs the question: are they going to retroactively do what fans expected was going to happen in WandaVision in the first place?
That'd be funny.
Like, are they gonna like in the Agatha show? Are they gonna actually reveal that like Mephisto was actually like either like manipulating or like having Agatha do all of that in the first place? But who knows? I'm just speculating, obviously. But it could be that, or because I've also heard that we're gonna see the origins of the Darkhold in that show. So maybe they kind of like switch things up and make like Mephisto the one that like created the Darkhold, and that's like where these scenes come into play. I don't know. I truly don't know what happened, but yeah, it sounds like they got some plans for Mephisto beyond just one show. So whether he turns out to play a pivotal role in the MCU moving forward, we'll have to see. But at the very least, I think it's cool that they're at least having him in multiple stuff. Then again, I might be saying something different if they absolutely butcher the character. But
yeah,
but I think, I mean, I'm not saying it'll be like a perfect interpretation of the character, but I can't imagine it's gonna be like bad. But we'll see. We will see what happens. But anyways, moving on. I think we talked about not too long ago a rumor that Sentry might be the villain in the Thunderbolts movie. But now here they're like reaffirming those rumors. They're saying Thunderbolts, the villain is going to be the Sentry here. And interestingly enough, they also added that he's going to be created by Val in the movie. And from some other places too, I've heard that he's actually going to start off as a member of the team, and much like in the comics, he's going to start hearing he's going to start hearing voices. He's going to start going crazy. He's going to start doing some wild stuff, and obviously they're going to have to try and stop him. But I will say, if he is even remotely close to what he is in the comics, there's no shot that this current team that we know of Thunderbolts is going to be able to stop him, because he's basically like Superman on steroids.
Yeah, I mean, who's who on the team is gonna even touch him?
What I think is probably going to happen.
Ghost.
Right, dude. Right, it's going to have to be. But what I think is probably what's going to happen, and this has actually like happened multiple times in the comics too, like they're basically ultimately going to be able to convince him to like just give himself up, like just stop. Like they're gonna, or because so like in the comics, he basically can't die. Like he can't be hurt. He can't die unless he wills himself to get hurt. So like I'm assuming they'll probably like convince him that like, hey, like you're going crazy. Like
You need to feel
you
Yeah.
gotta stop, and then he's gonna like like basically lower his guard and allow him to be defeated type thing. But um, I mean that's just like the only way that makes sense. There's no way. There's no way that I mean this guy literally ripped Carnage in half like a piece of paper in the comics. Like there's no way that the team is gonna be able to remotely come close to stopping him if he's even close to the power levels he had in the comics. But yeah, I think if this does turn out to be true, I think this I mean I've already said before that Sentry is one of my favorite or Marvel characters rather, but I think it should be pretty cool if they decide to go this route for the movie. But anyways, moving on. So they've said a couple of things which we'll get into here about the Captain America 4 movie. And honestly, I don't know how they're gonna do all of this in the movie if this ought to be true. So first of all, they say that Sam is going to be looking to assemble a new team of Avengers in this movie, for the ultimate goal of battling President Ross after, I'm assuming, he turns into the Red Hulk type thing. So yeah, apparently one of the key like components of Captain America 4 is going to be him assembling a new team of Avengers, which makes me think that it's probably going to be similar to Captain America Civil War, right? Where you just have like it's not like technically an Avengers movie, but like you just have like a bunch of characters, yeah, that are like basically Avengers. So that'll be cool. That'll be cool to see. Again, I don't know how they're gonna do that while also continuing, the story that they kind of set up with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier show. But don't worry, it gets even it gets even crazier than that, because someone here commented to one of their posts, this film is gonna have to be 4 hours long to fit all the plot we've been told about so far. You got President Ross, Red Hulk, Falcon assembling the new Avengers, Adamantium and Tiamat Island, which I think we talked about before on the podcast. The leader
Is Thunderbolts before or after this?
Before, I believe. Wait,
Okay, I'm sure
no,
we'll
no,
get
after actually, because
Oh.
this comes out next May, I believe, May of 2024, and then Thunderbolts comes out in July of next year, the summer.
Gotcha.
But yeah, then we got the leader, which that part actually is confirmed. Like they they said that Tim Blake Nelson was coming back as the leader. Apparently they're going to be setting up a new Falcon to take over, since obviously Sam is the new Captain America. They got to set up Thunderbolts. More that I can't name off the top of my head. And then My Time to Shine responded to that and said, and there's even more stuff going on in the movie that no one has mentioned yet. It's going to be stacked. So
Crossbones comes back.
So honestly, like at this point, it seems like anything can happen in this movie. And in addition to that, right underneath it, later on that day, then they also tweeted that Jessica Chastain is currently in talks to play the main villain of Captain America New World Order. So I don't know how that's possible, because like I thought that General Ross or President Ross, the Red Hulk, was going to be the main villain, since that sounds like the reason that he's assembling a new team of Avengers. But apparently that he's not even going to be the main villain. Apparently Jessica Chastain is like rumored to be in talks to play what is going to end up turning out to be the main villain of the movie. So I truly don't know like how they're gonna do all of this. Now obviously, like I just can't see all of this stuff being in the movie. Like there's just no way. I mean, maybe they find a way to do it, but I feel like some of this stuff at least is not gonna end up being in the movie. But even if most of it turns out to be true, that's a lot. Like that's a lot to jam pack in one movie. But we'll see what happens. But what do you guys think?
Does seem like a lot. Um,
It sounds wild, like in a good way, but I also
yeah,
like
for sure. I just hope it doesn't take away from like, the story.
right for sure.
But you know, I mean, I'm either way. I'm excited for it.
Right, yeah. I'm sure
Oh,
they'll
you
find
think,
a way to
Vaughn?
make it work, but yeah, go ahead.
Bad?
I just hope that for as much stuff as they're packing into the movie, um, that it's not too much.
Yeah,
That takes away from plot elements or rushed introductions or I don't know, you know.
right. Like the only thing I can think of is like maybe they start out the movie with like President Ross trying to go after the adamantium that's on Tiamat, right? Like the dead celestial that's in the ocean. And then I don't know, somehow like Sam like this or like some of the other Avengers are like opposing that or whatever because they don't want, you know, it to fall into the wrong hands. And then President Ross is like, okay, well I got to do something. So he like somehow like gets his hands on like the Hulk blood slash serum or whatever, turns into Red Hulk. Then, you know, Sam has to get the Avengers together to, you know, deal with that whole thing. And then maybe by the end, like Jessica Chastain's character like turns out to be like the main villain who's like kind of like puppeteering everything or whatever. I don't know. I'm just I'm just speculating how this could all like tie in and actually work, but it's by the sounds of it, it's gonna be pretty crazy. Whether in a good way or a bad way, we'll have to find out. But at the very least, there'll be some pretty awesome stuff that happens. But you know, whether it all makes sense or you know fits well with like the story that they've already established, we'll have to see. But anyways, a couple other things. They said that apparently Eternals 2 is happening. You know, we've heard some conflicting things about that, but according to them, Eternals 2 is still, you know, on track to happen. And they said it's going to adapt the Judgment Day arc from the comics. It's going to be more cosmic in nature, although I don't know how you could be more cosmic in nature because I feel like the first Eternals was pretty much as cosmic as you could get, unless they mean like it's going to like mostly take place in space, you know. Um and then lastly they say that Chloe Zhao, who directed the first one, is not currently attached as director, and there's a chance she will not return at all for the sequel. So we got that. You guys have any thoughts?
I'm all for it. I liked Eternals. It was a little long. There's some things I like to change, but I mean, it definitely wasn't a bad movie.
Yeah,
I
I'm surprised.
agree.
I'm interested to see what they do with Thanos' brother.
Yeah, yeah. Apparently, there's
I'm
like.
definitely interested in. Oh,
Go ahead. No, you're good. You're
go
good.
ahead. Oh. I'm definitely interested in like Tiamat and how that, and if that is the animanium and all that shit, and if that's how it goes down. I'm interested to see how they implement that stuff.
Right.
I'm sure
Yeah. Same.
it won't happen in Eternals too.
Right. Yeah.
I'm sure we'll get deeper backstory on it in Eternals too.
Yeah. It'll be. I don't know. So I'm from what I briefly remember about the Judgment Day arc in the comics. I think that's basically just when Arisham like comes to Earth, and like I think there's like two different versions. The one that I remember is like he basically like judges Earth as like it shouldn't be allowed to continue on. So like they're basically about to like destroy the Earth, but then like somehow like literally like all of the heroes of the Earth and like all of like the gods like get together and like battle them, and even that's not enough. And then they're just like somehow able to convince them at the end that like Earth is worth sparing or whatever. Um, so like obviously it's not going to play out exactly like that because well maybe it will, maybe it'll be like a you know Civil War type thing where like a bunch of other heroes show up or whatever, but um yeah, it'll by the sounds of it, if they do decide to go this direction, that definitely sounds interesting. Like an interesting approach for a sequel. But yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. But it probably wouldn't come out until after Secret Wars either, by the way. So
Probably not. Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to affect the story, because if it's true that we're going to be getting a hard reset of the MCU after Secret Wars, I don't know how they're going to go about this whole story, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. And then with that being said, they also gave like a brief synopsis of what they've heard about the general story of Deadpool 3 so far, at least in the early stages. So apparently it's going to be a direct follow-up to Deadpool 2. Wade, using Cable's time machine, is going to travel into the future to save Wolverine from dying. And then Logan does not know who he is and wants him gone, but using a time machine and changing history get them on the TVA's radar. So that's apparently how the TVA and Mobius and whatnot are going to come into play. But yeah, that's apparently, according to them, like the general like synopsis of like how the story is going to get kicked off. So about what you guys expected.
Would be
anything interesting?
Yeah,
that would be pretty
I've been
interesting to
reading up
see.
on it.
What'd you say, Ben?
That would be a pretty, if it unfolded that way, I'd be down to see it if that's how it turned out to
Well, they've
pan out.
Well, Hugh Jackman himself has already confirmed that there's going to be some type of like time travel device. And I mean, obviously that's going to have to be the case in terms of like, Wolverine showing up in general. And then obviously, put the dots together.
Just wonder how they're going to get Cable's fucking machine that he uses to time travel, because didn't Cable like leave after Deadpool 2? Like he went back to where he came from?
No, he stuck around.
Oh, he
was like,
did.
he, like,
Okay.
Yeah, he saved Wade's life, and that was like his last trip. Now I don't know how they recharged it. They showed Negasonic Teenage Warhead working on it, and then it just worked. But I don't know.
Because remember they did like all those like funny little like outro bits where like he's traveling like through time, like throughout the credits where he's like going like he like went like a baby Hitler and whatnot, like that whole stuff. So yeah, they'll probably do something like that where he's just like fooling around and like he's like, hey, let me go save Wolverine, and then that whole they interact, and then obviously the TVA shows up because they're messing with time and whatever. But now I don't know how they're going to, because obviously there's rumors that like a whole bunch of other wild stuff is going to happen, right? Like in the movie, like them going to like the other Fox universes, like the Fantastic Four and like whatnot. But I don't know how like all that stuff is going to tie in, but yeah, should be pretty interesting. And then let's see, just a couple quick things. They said that they heard that Silver Surfer is going to be a movie, which I thought was interesting because we previously heard it was going to be a special. Plus, if it's true that he's actually going to be in the Fantastic Four movie, obviously the Silver Surfer movie is not going to be out before then. So I guess the Fantastic Four is just going to be where he's introduced, and then he'll make his own solo movie down the line. I don't know. I don't know how that's gonna work. But anyways, they also said that Nova is also gonna be a movie and not a special or series, which I also think is a weird decision. But I mean, again, gonna have to be after Secret Wars, so we'll see what happens with that. Apparently they offered Daniel Craig a new role in the MCU recently, after ended up missing out on playing Balder in Doctor Strange 2, but we'll have to see who he ends up playing. They say Ben Affleck has had talks with Marvel Studios to play Dario Agger. I don't really actually know who that character is from the comics. From what I remember, I think he's like he's like
a
he's like
dagger.
yeah. I think he's like a corrupt like businessman who like deals with like shady stuff, and he like hires like criminals and whatnot to attack like the competition or whatever. I don't know. I could be mistaken, but yeah, interesting if that is true. You take a role like that, but we'll see what happens. And now we get into some interesting stuff. So, as if the other stuff wasn't already interesting enough, they kind of back up the previous reports we talked about how Robert Downey Jr. is going to return for Secret Wars. But then they also say that there's been some talks that he might have a brief cameo appearance in Armor Wars as well, which, would make sense because that whole movie is going to be about Tony Stark technology falling into the wrong hands. So that would make sense if he were somehow in that. But I don't know how they're going to do it because he's dead. So, unless it's like a hologram or something, or like a flashback, or I don't know, like a video message. That'd probably be like the most logical explanation. But anyways, so this right here was actually the 100,000 scoop that they revealed. They're saying that the Beyonder is actually going to be the main villain of Secret Wars. And
isn't it like a Kang variant?
Yep. Yeah, and also going to be played by Jonathan Majors as well, as they confirm here. This person that asked. So yeah, it's not going to be Kang. Well, technically it is, but not really. It's going to be a variant of Kang. So that's how they're going to be doing like the Beyonder thing, I guess, in the MCU. He's just going to turn out to be a variant of Kang. Whether he's going to have, the vast cosmic powers that he does in the comics, I don't know. I don't know if they're going that route or if he's going to be more, technology based like Kang is. Who knows? Who knows what they're going to do, but definitely it's interesting. And honestly, it's pretty cool. Like, I'll take it. Like, it was either to be that or Doctor Doom. Obviously, that was going to be the main villain. So, but it does make sense, if this is true, that they would go the Beyonder route and have him be a variant of Kang. So, pretty interesting indeed. And then I don't think I saved this tweet either, but at some point they also confirmed that there's going to be other Kang variants as well that will show up at some point in the MCU, aside from like the ones that we know about or have heard about. Like the Kang from Quantumania, the Kang from Loki season 2, whatever that's going to end up being, and obviously Kang Dynasty, which I think is just going to be the one from Quantumania. And then we got the Beyonder variant of Kang, but apparently there's going to be even more variants of Kang that are going to show up. So should be interesting. And then this was another one that was like in addition to the Beyonder news. Apparently they're saying that they have signed on both Tobey Maguire and Hugh Jackman to be in Secret Wars as their respective characters, and that there will be a scene where they fight alongside each other in the movie. So for those of you that don't know, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine was actually supposed to have a cameo appearance in one of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, but for whatever reason it didn't end up happening. So I feel like that's like a cool kind of like callback, because like, at one point way back when they were supposed to share the screen together. So to finally, see that play out in Secret Wars should be pretty fun. And then lastly, they just kind of give like a brief rundown of what they've heard from Secret Wars in terms of the plot. So apparently, according to them, Kang Dynasty will have like the new Avengers. I'm assuming the team that, Sam, the new Captain America, is going to assemble in Cap 4. as the leads, and then Secret Wars is going to be the opposite. It's going to be from the point of view, and we'll focus mainly on the heroes from the other universes. Obviously, the Avengers are also going to be in there at some point, right? They have to be, but I think it's interesting that they're saying that the main point of view and focus for, I'm assuming, probably most of the movie is going to be on the other universes for Secret Wars. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
I was
I mean, it'd be dope.
I agree. I agree. We'll have to wait and see. But if that is true, because like I just thought it'd be like one of those things where like, you know, they just like briefly visit the other universes, right? Kind of like recruit the other heroes, and then just them all banding together to fight Kang, or now we know the Beyonder at the very end. But now that there's, rumors that actually most of the movie is going to focus on the other universes and like the heroes within them, I feel like that's a pretty sick like decision.
Yeah, no, like
if it ends up being
it makes
true,
sense with the word Secret Wars.
but, right,
There's all these battles going on
right,
in other universes while we're over here trying to get a new Avengers team.
right. So yeah, I'll be like everything, we'll have to wait and see if any more information comes out about that. But yeah, for now, that's pretty much everything that they have said or leaked or reported on over the last couple of weeks. But before we move on to the last couple things, is there anything else you guys wanted to talk about relating to any of that stuff?
I just
Not
find it really
really. I mean,
interesting that. Oh, sorry.
no, you're good. I was just gonna say you covered most of it.
I'm just gonna say I just find it really interesting, like all the back bits of information that no one really knew is like how much of that is coming forth.
Yeah, like what do you mean? Like how it's coming out, or you're just saying like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Like
so like go ahead.
there is an idea with the whole Wolverine thing, like for him to have one of the appearances in one of the earlier Spider-Mans, but
Oh,
like
yeah.
how that got put on the back burner and put aside for a second, and then like I guess they re-strategize how they wanted to introduce um Wolverine specifically in another way, but
Right. Yeah, I can't remember at least pertaining to that. I can't remember exactly why it didn't end up happening way back when. I think it was because they had like a rights issue or something, and um they couldn't get it okayed like at the last minute or whatever. Um but yeah, because like there is also and one, I can't remember which one. In one of the movies they actually do mention Doctor Strange, but that was another character that Sam Raimi like wanted to include like in a small cameo role in one of the movies. But again, that was obviously rights related issues. They couldn't get it. They couldn't get it to work out. The best he could do was a mention, but yeah, you know,
mm-hmm.
that's how that played out. But yeah, it just honestly at the end of the day, it just like Secret Wars again, like most of the stuff we cover, like if even half the stuff we've heard about that ends up being true, like it's gonna be. And I thought it was funny too because IGN put out a poll recently on Twitter, asking like people if they thought like the MCU has peaked or not, like if it can't get any better, and like 85% of the votes were like yes, the MCU has peaked. And I was like,
Oh wow.
and I was like, okay, well if Secret Wars ends up being like what we've been hearing so
Right.
far, then these people are gonna have to they're gonna have to eat their words, I guess. I don't know, um but yeah, in turn, and like honestly, I do admit, like, I can see like where people are coming from in terms of like the recent movies that we've gotten, you know being maybe slightly of a letdown as to what they were maybe expecting, but even before Secret Wars, like I think some of the movies we'll be getting before then, um, I can't say for the movies coming out this year. Obviously, while I do have high hopes for like Quantum Mania and Guardians 3 and even the Marvels, I've been hearing lately some pretty good stuff about that as well. But I think like starting next year, it's like really gonna start to ramp up at the least. Like if it doesn't this year, like it's like starting next year, it's really gonna start to ramp up. Like from what we've been hearing about Captain America or Thunderbolts, uh, Spider-Man 4, if that ends up coming out, between end of 24, 25. You have the Fantastic Four reboot, and then all leading into Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. Like I feel like that stretch of films right there is just gonna be insane. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe it's just copium on my part. Maybe I'm hoping too much, but I think it'll definitely start picking up.
Yeah, well, I know we've said it before, but like, you gotta have like a build-up stage. Yeah. Like we didn't go from, Iron Man 1 and then Avengers Endgame.
Like, Iron Man to Avengers in 2 movies.
Yeah, like we literally there's 19, 20 something movies in between.
Right. That's I mean that's a good point because like you figure if like all of the original movies like before the first Avengers came out this year, right? Like if we had, now granted Iron Man was really good and well received at the time. That's an outlier, but like if we also had like the first Captain America, the first Thor, and what was the other one? Or was that it?
What's up?
Maybe like the Incredible Hulk. I'm talking about movie? Like the movies that came out before the first Avengers movie. I was saying
Thor,
like
Captain America, Iron Man.
I mean, I guess technically the Incredible Hulk, even though that wasn't like
technically
in that time. But essentially, what I'm getting to is like if those 4 movies came out like this year in place of the 4 movies that we got like Marvel wise this year, I feel like people would be complaining just as much.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're spoiled for sure.
Right. Because like most of those movies, like I said, with the exception of Iron Man, like weren't, I mean, like most people thought they were decent movies, right? But like most people didn't really think of them as like crazy good movies, right? At least at the time. And then Avengers came out, the thing that it was all leading up to, right? And then people were like, "Oh, dude, this is sick! Like, this is awesome." It's like, yeah, because they have to establish the characters first, and then give them a little bit of backstory, and then it'll lead up to, the huge event film or whatever. But, yeah, I'm not worried at all. I think that's exactly what's gonna happen here. So, anyways, we have 2 video game related things. The first of which, did you guys see this fan made Superman demo that someone made in Unreal Engine 5?
Oh yeah, I did actually.
Yeah, it looked dope.
I'm gonna get in the Discord just in case you guys ever wanna go back and look at it, but I'll play it's only 3 minutes. I'll play it here for the stream. But
yeah, there was one that was a long time, like probably like 9 months ago that they did. Is this just like an update on it or something?
Oh yeah, wait, is it? I guess it would be the same one. Yeah, the one where he's like flying through the city or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this it just looks insane. Like the flight, and then like we'll skip a little bit, and just like floating above like the skyline, going over the city, pretty sick. And then he literally just flies into space. Like it's not like they literally like just created space in the game, and then you got the sun, and then I'll skip ahead to the part where he re-enters the atmosphere. But essentially, long story short, why couldn't we get a game like this?
No.
Like, dude, this would be sick if they actually made like a full on game like this, where you could just like fly to wherever. Like maybe you could fly to, like different planets or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
or like even on Earth, like just flying to like different places on Earth, like around the world. Like,
I mean, we're getting to the point where, I mean, they're able to do that. I mean, you got games that are like, obviously, it's like AI populating different planets, but like if they like, if there's gonna be people designing planets and like areas for you to go to, just like in what's it, Starfield that's coming out, because like
Yeah.
there's like thousands of planets and those aren't procedural, like those are like designed. I'm sure elements to them are procedural, but they're all like meant to
Different
be,
in
and they
some
designed
way,
them. They
yeah.
have names and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean,
It'd be fun. I'll tell you that.
I mean, we can only hope, right? We can only
Yep.
hope that.
I never thought we were gonna get a Harry Potter game, but
That's
here we
true.
are.
That's true.
I mean, we had Harry Potter games, but like this one, like an open
Yeah,
world,
not to that
like
extent, right?
I get to live in Harry Potter world.
Right. Right, dude.
That's the only thing that's like the bright side of On Call, is at the other end of On Call, I don't have to do it again until like way after Harry Potter comes out.
Right. Right, dude. Yeah, you'll have gotten to experience it fully before.
Yeah,
you have
when
to worry
does
about
Harry
that
Potter
again.
come out?
February 10th, but if you buy the $70 or the deluxe version, it's like $80 or something, which I'm gonna do. You get it 3 days early.
Sheesh.
Nice.
So the 7th,
Like,
I took off the 7th and the 8th
sheesh.
because the 5th and the 6th is a Sunday, Monday, and I already have those off. So I'm taking off the 7th and the 8th, and I'm gonna spend those 2 days just going ham.
Nice, dude. Yeah, I'll definitely be playing it as well. First comes out.
I'll be streaming it for sure off the PS5.
Sheesh.
Noise.
Like streaming or like in Discord
Streaming.
Hey,
Nice.
let's go. Not to make this sound like a hashtag paid advertisement, but do you know what else you get if you get the deluxe version of the game?
There's a couple things. You get some outfits and shit.
Okay.
I can pull it up real quick.
I mean, it's no big deal if not. I was just wondering if you knew.
No, like you get there's a mount you can get. I'm like there was a bunch of stuff, and all I saw was 3 days early.
Right. I just didn't know if there's like anything else like crazy you got for
Let me see.
deluxe version.
Oh, you get the Dark Arts pack, which is like
Sheesh.
some Dark Arts like clothing and stuff like that.
Right.
An Onyx Hippogriff mount, a Dark Arts hat, and it's part of the set.
Do you think you get to customize the cloak of invisibility in that game?
This
I don't think
guy,
you
dude.
get one. You might, not the Cloak of Invisibility, but a.
This guy
Like,
said
I don't know.
This guy said to customize something that's invisible, dude. Come on. Let's be real.
It's funny because like that's not what I heard when he said it. All I thought was like he can't have one because actually there's only like one actual.
Man.
Actually,
Someone get the Nurge emotes in the chat.
so you get a Thestral mount, Dark Arts Battle Arena, Dark Arts Cosmetic Set, 72 hours early access, and then you get if you get it on PlayStation, you get the PS4 and PS5 versions as well as Xbox XS versions.
Yeah, I don't think probably like the game I'll be playing most of that month. Like trying to think of what because like that one Atomic Hearts game I think comes out that
Yeah, I already pre-ordered that.
might
It comes out free on the Game Pass, but I want it for my PlayStation. So
Sheesh. That's fair. Yeah,
it's gonna run so much better on my PlayStation than my PC.
That's fair. I thought you were just saying the PC in general. I was like, that's but yeah.
No, just that game. Yeah, like it's gonna run the game better. It's just It's my graphics card and my CPU are what's limiting me.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I could play it and it'd be fine, but like it wouldn't look nearly as good
Right.
as on the PS5.
I was gonna say, dude, with my 3090, that thing is gonna look beautiful, dude. But yeah, I'll probably that's probably the only other thing might dabble with that month or next month rather. Oh wait, I forgot. I think Sons of the Forest is also supposed to come out in February, but honestly, I'll probably wait to play that with you guys if you're down or if you end up getting that. But whenever that might end up being, but yeah. That being said, the last thing that I had was I think one of the last podcasts we talked about Ubisoft's upcoming open world Star Wars game. Like they were looking for playtesters for it. Apparently they so this doesn't talk about it here, but I saw earlier today their official account actually tweeted out that they were going to be having like an official announcement for it sometime soon. I don't know what that means. Like if it means like a release date or like a release time or like they're just gonna be revealing more information about it. Who knows? But it sounds like it's like actually not too far off though. Probably won't come out this year, but I could easily see it coming out sometime next year. But anyways, long story short, according to Insider Gaming site, the future Star Wars open world video game will boast a fully open, seamless universe, similar to that found in No Man's Sky. In the game, players will be able to jump between systems, immersing themselves in a vast galaxy. Yada yada. At the heart, the game, in-depth, lengthy story driven by a fully customizable character that walks a path chosen by the gamer. There are decades worth of lore, locations, weapons, and characters. Oh, to draw from. Okay. Game itself. And then they say it may even rival Starfield. I'm assuming like in terms of like just like the expanse of it and like everything, like all the different like planets and systems that you can go to. But yeah, I mean,
Hope it doesn't feel as empty.
right, dude. I mean, it can definitely. I mean, I've always said like, I mean, if they truly made like a good open world Star Wars game, I mean, it would just be like incredible. But you know, we'll see if it ends up meeting the hype that some people seem to have about it. But I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm definitely looking forward to learning more about it, but I'm kind of tempering my expectations until I learn more, like officially, you know, or at least until I like see gameplays and play for it. But yeah, in terms of potential, it definitely has like limitless potential for what an open world Star Wars game could be. But we shall see. We shall see if it ends up being any good. But yep. What do you guys think?
Like I said, I hope it's not empty.
Well,
could be good, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I'm excited for the prospect of it.
I wonder if it'll be like multiplayer as well, or at least have like the option of multiplayer. I feel like that'd be the best option, honestly. It'd be cool, but I mean, either way, I'll play it. But I mean, either or, whether it's like I don't know, almost like an MMO, I guess, or like, I mean, actually no, because like No Man's Sky has that too, right? Because don't they have like, can't you run across like other players too, like just out in the world?
I think so.
Or the space or whatever. But yeah, either way, we'll see what happens. But and also it's funny they mentioned Starfield too, because I guess, well, they've said all along that it's supposed to come out sometime early this year. And ever since they said that, they haven't said anything else about it in terms of like specific release date or whatever. But I guess I don't know where it was. It was like on their website or something, but I guess they like reconfirmed the other day that it's still supposed to come out in early 2023, which I don't know how, like, because we're in early 2023 right now. So like
Yeah.
I so like I don't know how you can say, yeah, don't worry, it's still coming out early this year without saying like a release date. You know what I mean? But because I mean like early 2023, like the max is what, like March, I think. Like the end of March, at least in
Yeah,
terms of
end of
like
the
what
first
they
quarter or
consider it,
something.
but oh that's yeah. It's a little wild that they still haven't, set the release date, even though they just doubled down that it's still supposed to come out early this year. So we'll see what happens. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But have we even seen like extended gameplay for it either? I'm trying to think. Like I know we've seen like a little bit, but I can't remember like seeing anything like an extended like demo or anything from that game. Have you guys seen anything
For
I'm
what?
for
not.
Starfield? Have you seen like
There's some like gameplay that they showed, but like that's it. There's nothing like anybody got hands on or anything.
oh, okay.
Like
Okay.
they did a showcase of it.
Right. Huh. Well,
Not a whole
guess we'll
bunch of
find
it
out.
though.
I was gonna, yeah, because I mean, I obviously I could have just missed it, but I can't remember like seeing any gameplay that was like more than like 5 minutes or something like that. But
Yeah, yeah, no more than that.
well, watch. It's like actually like not even close to being done. They're just like, we'll just like keep saying it's like coming out soon for as long as possible until it's like actually done.
They
But
might.
wouldn't surprise me, honestly. It actually wouldn't surprise me, but yeah, but with that being said, that's all that I had to go over today. So do you guys have anything else that you guys want to talk about or cover that we haven't already?
I do not.
Uh-oh.
All right, fair enough. Well, sounds like that is going to wrap things up for the stream. As I said at the start of the stream, at least the next couple podcasts will be again live streamed here on YouTube. I'll be trying that out for a little bit, see how it goes. And with that being said, we'll see you for the next one, which will be 2 weeks from now, 2 Sundays from now. So we will see you then.
All right.